That's right, you fools. It's time yet again for Anime Seasoning, the quarterly cry for help where I watch a bunch of stuff I know I'm gonna hate, tell you that I hate it, in the hopes that 2 or 3 of the things that I hate will at least be salvageable. It's a great business model. The traditional What the Fluff hat is not ready to go. How am I allowed to do anything? You can't fold a piece of paper more than 7 times because it gets too heavy. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Science. I don't know who it is they did an interview with, but the question was brought up, like, I think it was I don't know if it was the mangaka or the director of the anime of Full Metal Alchemist, who said they were talking about, like, just how short-staffed a lot of studios claim to be, and then he was just like, make less shows. And as I fucking shuffle these like they're a deck of goddamn cards, I feel the same way, because I had to watch 32. There's 32 pieces of paper here. There we go. That's right, you fools. It's time yet again for Anime Seasoning, the quarterly cry for help where I watch a bunch of stuff I know I'm gonna hate, tell you that I hate it, in the hopes that 2 or 3 of those things will at least be salvageable. It's a great business model. The traditional What the Fluff hat is ready to be unleashed upon the world like the hidden eye powers of a Junibio, hell-bent on not giving in to society's whims. It is filled to bursting with scraps of paper that have nonsense phrases and jumbled letters written upon them. And since this spring season is so dense with shows, I'm going to be limiting the amount of time I talk about each potential subject, just because otherwise we'd be here all day. And nobody wants that, so let us begin. 1 of 32, here we go! Combatants will be dispatched. It's not out of the realm of possibility for a show to have fan service while joking about fan service. I think Konosuba is a show that does this quite well, and it manages it because there's other jokes besides the fan service that are comedy and therefore funny. This is just trash, which is weird to me because this is also from the Konosuba guy. I guess it just doesn't work as well when your characters are shit, huh? I will admit, though, I did make a mistake while I was watching this. As my interest was dissipating, my fingers accidentally slipped on the close tab button, and then they kept slipping on the never gonna click this again button. Whoops! Next. Maybe because there's just so many shows, but these feel like they're mixing in the hat a lot better. SSSS Dynazenon! Are you supposed to say all of the S's like that? Like SSSS, or is it quad S, or do you just do like what I do and just go sss, like a weeb snake? This show's pretty cool. I like mecha stuff, but what I like about this one is that I really enjoyed the characters so far. There's the one girl who I really like, who's, her whole thing is that she enjoys ditching people. She's like a John Mulaney joke come to life. Like, canceling plans for her is like heroin. I think the OP for the show fucks, too, and it's diegetic, which gives it like an extra layer of slam that I'm just absolutely here for. I can't wait to hear it as part of the finale of the show. It's gonna be pretty hype. The show's pretty cool. There's some cool little design details, cool elements going on in the background. I like the characters. It's a pretty hype show. I'd say check it out. The Saint's power is omnipotent. A girl is isekai'd to a fantasy land similar to that of thousands of stories that exist today. A story land, if you will, or Storyland, a theme park in Glen, New Hampshire. I went there once as a child, and my little sister nearly got us thrown out of the park because she kept putting her hands in the air on the Mad Hatter's teacup ride, which makes sense, because expressions of joy and excitement really go against the Mad Hatter's normal beliefs of normalcy and decorum. And I tell you that story because this show sucks. It's really boring. As I was watching it, my eyes glazed over like 2 donuts in a Krispy Kreme oven. I thought the main character being an apothecary was at least a little bit of an interesting twist, but the only thing they do with it is, hey, she's really good at it. Thrilling. Next. Super Cub. How much did Honda pay for this little advertisement? A Super Bowl budget for a show about the most depressed girl on the planet. A kind word to describe Super Cub would be deliberate. An unkind word would be slow as fuck. I guess that's 3 words. Everything in this show, the animation, the story, the pacing, it all moves so slow. And all to tell a story about a girl who is so down on her luck and upset with the world that purchasing a crappy motorbike with a literal kill count is enough to spark joy and excitement in her. I think this show would be a lot better if it moved at anything other than a slug's pace. Next. Farewell, my dear Kramer. Okay, in the interest of 100% transparency, I didn't actually watch the first episode of Farewell, My Dear Kramer. And not even like I clicked on it and I just gave up halfway through. No, I didn't go anywhere near it. It's a show about girls that play soccer. Great, awesome, too cool for school. I only bring it up because I wanted to make the following comments about Farewell, Kramer. Adios, Frasier. Au revoir, Al Bundy. Ta-ta, Tim the Toolman Taylor. I got one more. Eat shit, Rob Schneider. And other such jokes. Next. Mars Red. I really appreciate that Mars Red started a week early, so that way I could stop watching it a week early. I slapped my thigh. Ha! Got him. The cold open of the first episode of Mars Red starts with a monologue about how the moon is a virgin, actually. Go on. But it actually turned out as just like a vampire thing, and I've said before, vampires are an extremely horny subject material, and I thought that this would be too, what with the whole virginal moon thing, but actually no, it's pretty even par. Kinda lame, actually. Next. Shinkalian Zed. Yeah, I know it's a Z, but they say it's Zed, okay? It's Zed. Alright, so I've talked about the Shinkalian franchise before because it's bananas. Somehow it's managed to do crossovers with the likes of Godzilla, Hatsune Miku, and fucking Evangelion. But it has, and now it has a new series out, and I figured I'd check it out, because I found a very obnoxious, very shitposty fan sub that brought me back a little bit, you know, to a simpler time when I used to watch Naruto fan subs in 3 7-minute parts in 480p with audio mixed to only come out of the right channel for whatever fucking reason. And this was like that, but with more memes. A lot of the jokes in the fan sub were pretty terrible, like clearly written with like a 14-year-old edgelord in mind. It's just like a, you know, like a lot of swearing and dick and sex jokes. Pfft, been there, done that. But there were some parts that I thought were legitimately hilarious. Like even some of the dumb references that had nothing to do with anything. When you see "You will not pursue Lu Bu" in all caps, I had to laugh. And I don't want to review the fan sub, but I mean, who cares about the show other than like little kids? Okay, it's a show about a little boy, and he drives a train, and he gets his own personalized Sentai suit, and the train turns into a mech, and he fights monsters with it. It's a little kid dream show. It's made for them, and I'm sure they will love it. The rest doesn't matter, except for what does matter, and that is memes. Next. 8686. 86, 86, 86. 86. I was extremely trepidatious when I saw that a cool concept had found its way to the A1 Pictures animation studio, because they got like a second nature for blanding things up, and oh boy did they. Listen, concepts are great. A cool concept is a wonderful thing to have as a jumping off point. But if the only thing that's with you after you jump is the ground, you're gonna die. The animation in this is bland. The story is bland. The characters, bland. Bland, 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 bland. I want to save lives, the plucky main character says. Yeah, a lot like your deceased father, the inevitable bad guy uncle character responds. You're a lot like him. Ah, yes, caring about the lives of others. Ugh, liberals. Next. Oh, Jesus. Osamake, the childhood friend, won't lose. The childhood friend may not lose, but the audience sure will. You get it? Because it's really not good and boring. I wanted to literally die watching this. Well, maybe not literally. Certainly figuratively. With a nice pick to the skull, if we're still talking in the figurative sense. This is just more cringy bullshit that I don't care about. As I was watching it, I just wanted to recede inside of myself like a reverse fart. All routes lead to doom in a good series, but all routes lead to boredom in this one. Bam! Another thigh slap. I am on fire today. Next. I've been killing slime for 300 years and I maxed out my level. I've been watching anime for 300 years and now my knees don't work. The main character of this show dies from overwork at age 27, and as a 29-year-old that overworks himself, that hits in a very specific way that makes me feel very attacked. Anywho, the main character of this show is overpowered, and that's the conceit of the show. And I've said before that shows like this work based on what they focus on. If your main character's invulnerable, there either need to be good side characters to protect, good jokes that make light of the whole situation, or just a good plot that uses everything well. This show is just diet every other overpowered main character show that I've ever seen. The main difference is that the main character happens to be female, which is fine. The show is fine. It's perfectly, unapologetically fine. But in a season that is this oversaturated with shows, I need a little bit more than fine, so I stopped watching. Next. Oh, party foul. Yeah. We're not going to do this one, because I saw what it is, and I don't want to do that one yet. Is that cheating? Yes, technically, but it's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want as I'm looking in. That's cheating I can't abide. Dragon's house hunt. Dragon goes house hunting, however you look at that translation. I don't care. I'm such a snooty little boy today. Yo, if Letty doesn't find his little dragon self in the best boy conversation at the end of the year, then anime truly was a mistake. This show is adorable. Letty is a timid, weak dragon who's looking to live by himself in comfort, and if that is not the most relatable thing in all of media, he gets in touch with a real estate agent who's an elf and also a demon lord, and the duo tour properties together. It's wonderful, it's funny, it's cute, it's charming. I enjoy it a lot, and I think you will too, because I said so. Hetalia, World Stars, Season 7. I've never really been able to get into Hetalia over the years. I've tried a couple times, but it just never gets far. Personifications of states and countries have a lot of background baggage that make it a little bit icky to me, I think. You know, even if a creator's intentions are good, I think there's a lot of yikes history and stereotypes that are tough to get around. But it doesn't help your cause when you just make Italy a pasta-munching Mamma Mia freak. Molto brutto. Now, Hetalia has its fans, that's for sure. There were some girls I used to run with on the con circuit that loved to dress as the Axis powers, and other con goers ate that shit up. So this'll have its fans, but it's not for me. Next. Backflip! Remember when I said last time that you should grow up and watch Yuri on Ice like an adult? Well, that goes double for this, making that phrase quadruply redundant. I see what this show is doing, trying to hide being a ripoff behind a completely different sport, huh? Great bait, mate. For real though, I've got friends in queer spaces that are really iffy about this show as being exactly that, bait. Friends in Queer Spaces, by the way, is my favorite Garth Brooks song. Next. These Snow White notes. In these Snow White notes, these little wonders, these twists and turns of fate. I can't hear that song by it's Rob Thomas. I can't hear that song and not think of Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, and it just fucking wrecks me every time. Anyway. A boy loves it when his grandfather plays the shamisen for him. He yearns for the tutelage of his grandfather, but Gramps is just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Because if I were to teach you how to play this thing, you'd be just imitating, so won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. That's an awfully hot coffee pot. I should be arrested. And then he dies. And Bro's really broken up about it too, so he goes and moves to Tokyo, gets involved in a love triangle, and then he finds a way to wail on the shamisen like he's fucking Buckethead, who doesn't play the shamisen, but you get the reference I'm trying to make, because I'm an American loser. The end. The show's fine. The show is fine. It's not for me, but it's fine. People will enjoy it, I'm sure. I quit. Next. Cestus. Cestus is the Roman Gladiator anime that I was actually kind of interested in before the season began, and maybe it is. I'll never know, because I can't stomach to watch it, because it's really fucking ugly. The CG, I think, is pretty bad. It's not like X-Arm bad, could anything ever be, but I don't know, it just didn't, it feels wrong to me. It was like JoJo without the fluidity or motion. It was like Megalobox with no style, or Sidonia without the substance. It's like it's not made for me. Next. Party Foul. Ugh. Nah, I don't want to do that one yet. You'll never believe me that the one I just party fouled is the one that I just drew randomly, but it's fucking Hige Hero. Fuck. Hige Hero. What happened when I shaved my beard and started dating a high schooler? I don't know, you went to jail, hopefully. This show is absolutely shameless. You think that it's gonna clear the ground level bar at first because Bro's just like, whoa, I ain't into kids. But, like Woody Allen, allegedly, who I assume wrote this show, allegedly, it decides to blame the child. She's the aggressor, not me. And the camera during all of this, oh my god, the camera, as the man is saying to her, I am not into you. The camera is, and this is going to sound vulgar, so I recommend you hit that little right arrow button to skip what I'm about to say. You've been warned. It's all up in her grundle. And that's not okay. Whomever is responsible for this show should be given an ocean-sized swirly. Fuck this ×5. Next. Joran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. This show's really cool. I was interested in it before the season started, and I'm still interested in it now, which means I'm still watching it. It reminds me a lot of Demon Slayer, has a similar kind of hard painted line aesthetic that I really dig, and also with like how some of the elemental stuff is drawn. It reminds me a lot of like what I don't know if this is Ufotable, I probably should have looked it up, but it looks similar. And on top of that, there's a whole lot of revenging and scheming and conniving going on in the show. Alignments are constantly in flux. I really dig it, and I would say, check it out. Gloomy, the Naughty Grizzly. Oh, if the word naughty doesn't come with a Denver airport conveyor belt's worth of baggage. I was really worried that this was just going to be Bear Pervert Simulator 2021 when I first saw the title. Instead, what I got was violence and disobedience, all in under 60 seconds. A boy has a pet grizzly bear, and he gets a package from Union Busters R Us. Oh, sorry, knockoff Amazon. And as he runs to the door to get the package, the bear beats the shit out of him. And every episode, the bear beats the piss out of this kid, and it's fucking hilarious. It'll get old fast, but I'm still watching it, so yeah, why not? I'm digging into the crevasses of this hat. Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. card game shows should be for meme purposes only. I checked this out for shits and gigs, and it was far more shit than gig. The main character's incapable of saying no to anybody, so his sisters dress him up like a girl. Lol, isn't that funny? And he doesn't like it. Yay, cross-dressing against one's will. That sure is jokes. Anything else that happens in this, who cares? I don't. Card games belong in the meme bin forever. Next. Seven Knights Revolution. Seven Knights Revolution is a show that... Oh, do you hear that? Oh, it's the sound of a show. And it's blowing by on the wind. Silently. Gently. As wind does. Did you miss it? Don't worry. Because I got you. Boy meets girl. Girl real strong. Girl saves boy. But boy, strong too. Boy save girl. Lick each other's throats. Magic! Yay! Next. Odd Taxi. Hell yeah. Odd Taxi is great. I love it. I love the art style. I love the OP, which is both of them kind of work together to create this kind of just chill vibe that really works. But there's a lot of like unsettling stuff going on in the plot. The main character is a walrus named Otokawa, and he's like a 30 to 40 something. He's just bumming his way through life. He's kind of dour and he's sarcastic, my kind of dude. But he's trying to come out of his shell a little bit more, or blubber, as the case may be. And he gets involved in all these shenanigans. I really, really enjoy it, and I think everybody else will too. I'd say check it out. Koikimo. This is the show about grooming. Awesome. I hate the show on principle. A girl saves a man's life in a train station, and he gloms onto her with the urge to pay her back for her good deed with sex. Problem is, he's an adult, she's a child, he was a skater boy, and he will not stop no matter how frequently or insistently she says, "See you later, boy." You know, this is obviously what Naoki Urasawa had in mind when he wrote Monster, because it really makes you regret saving a motherfucker's life. Next. Don't toy with me, Miss Nagatoro. Now excuse me while I take a quick victory lap here. Mama always said be humble, and it is with that in mind that I say, haha, you idiots. I was right again. Just add this to the list of things that Chris is always correct about. People decried Nagatoro as the next Uzaki, and I said nay. It's not going to be that bad. It can't be, because it's not as overtly creepy. And I was right. Nagatoro is a much better show than Uzaki. It looks better, it sounds better, it's funnier, has better characters. It's just overall a better show. I still fucking hate it, though. It's cringe. I cringe watching this meek, unassuming incel sad sack. I cringe watching this downright awful, mean-spirited girl tease. No, not tease. Teasing is what you do to a friend who spilled beer on their crotch at a crowded Buffalo Wild Wings 8 years ago. What Nagatoro does to this kid is, like, abuse. I cringe. I cringe watching it. I cringe watching her snaggletooth that is colored the same as her skin. Why does she have a lip fang? I can't. I fucking hate it. Next. Ferryronmaru. Okay, so I had no interest in Ferryronmaru, but I am not one to pass up a good bit. This is an idol series, and I don't care about those, but I had to check this out because the boys work at a place called Bar F. That's barf. It's like a Stefan joke. New York's hottest club is Barf. This place has everything. Sparkles, transformation sequences, copyright infringement. And that's that thing when the characters say they're gonna steal your heart and you immediately think of Persona 5. And when they say they're gonna steal your heart, they say itadakimasu as well. And if my understanding of the Japanese language only came from anime, I would assume that meant they were gonna eat your heart. Unfortunately, no hearts were consumed in this series, which is a real, real shame. It's almost as if itadakimasu applies to more than just eating food. Whatever. Next. To Your Eternity. I love stuff that's set in the wintertime. I think the stark white visuals are really great. It's like crack to me. Also white, as it turns out. And the show has a snowy doggo in it, and I love doggos. Doggo's around here somewhere. She's probably in there. I loved this show. I thought it was really good. After the first episode, I was like, wow, good luck to the rest of the show being anywhere near as good as that. And it is good. It's really good. In a season that had a lot of stuff that I liked, this is one of the few that I loved. So absolutely check it out. Hi, there's dog. The World Ends With You, the animation. I've played a minuscule amount of the World Ends With You video game, but I do want to finish it someday, and I'm excited to do so. And I'm excited to play Neo, so this better not be shit. And thankfully it's not. I actually quite enjoyed it. I love the character designs already. I've actually drawn Neku Sakuraba before. I really like these designs. And I like how the show manages to evoke the look of a Nintendo DS game without looking like ass in the process. I was pretty into it, and I do still want to play the game at some point, and I'm glad to have this as a companion piece. And I don't think that my interest in playing the game will be lessened from watching this show, because I watched the anime Steins Gate before I played the game, so I don't think that's going to matter to me. But I do say, check this out. I recommend it, especially if you're already a fan of the source material. Let's make a mug too, as in also. You know, we all need hobbies in these trying times. I never thought in a million years that this show was going to get picked up. And they sure do make mugs. That is what happens. No psychological horror hidden anywhere in here, as I was kind of hoping for. It's kind of a shame, but this is one of those series that's about something that's just so wildly specific that it's clear it was made by somebody who is weirdly passionate about that one thing and is big time mad that there isn't other media about it. Very odd. Next. Vivi, Fluoride Eyes song. This show is awesome. I'm glad that Wit gets to do cool and interesting things now. This show is what I thought Gekkodoll was going to be, an idol amidst apocalypse. Vivi's a robot, and she is trying to prevent the end of the world via artificial intelligence-based slaughter that we see in the cold open of episode 1. As an immortal robot, she lives for a very long time, and over the course of many, many years, she prevents assassinations, legislation, mass death events, all to save the universe in the future. And she does this all with the help of an AI teddy bear named Matsumoto, who is just such a prick. And she does all of this while trying to understand what it means to put your heart into something. It's really great. I love it. Check it out. Shadow's House. Here we go, buddy. Here we go, buddy. Here we go, buddy. Here we go. Shadow's House is way past cool. I went on a bit of a journey with this one. I was ready to dismiss it after episode 1 because I thought it was a little too peppy for the darker tone presented by the imagery and the premise. A team darker tone, if you will. I was ready to make the checkmarky next motion with my arm and move on to the next show, but then a friend told me that the manga got really good, and I think I might have just been drunk or high or something, and I figured, fuck it. Let's check it out. And there's 96 chapters of it as of this recording, and I've read them all. Like, in a week, I read them all. If you were disappointed by the travesty that was Promised Neverland's second anime adaptation season, then I would say you'll really like this, because this series is a lot like Promised Neverland if they never left Gracefield. This series is really good, and it obliterates everything that's not its friend. Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald? Tokyo Revengers. Revengers is a dumb word. I don't like it. Revengers is a dumb word. I don't like it. I watched a lot of anime this season, and as I was coming towards the end of the first block of first episodes of these shows, there was a bunch that released all on one day, and I watched them all, and most of them weren't very good or were really bland, and when that happens, they tend to blur together. And it's just, my interest dissipates fast if I'm not caught. And the first episode of Tokyo Revengers did nothing for me. As I can ascertain, it's a series about a boy who has dark hair and his life sucks, and then he goes back in time and it's blonde, and he starts a show called Anime Seasoning. No, I'm just kidding. He goes back in time and he like beats up bullies, I guess. I don't know. My friends in the mangaverse say this one's actually really good and it picks up quick, and you know, I did give the second chance to Shadow's House and ended up loving it, so I'll probably do the same thing here, but I didn't do that before I started recording today. So as of right now, next. I think there's only 2 left. Full Dive. This RPG is fucking garbage, or shitty, stupid poop. I refuse to call it by its actual title, out of spite. I hate it when shows have paragraph-long titles. In spite of that, though, I granted a bizarre level of leniency to this show. It's in a really oversaturated genre, but I did think the gimmick was at least a smidge interesting. The main character is playing a VR MMO that is, as the title would suggest, terrible. It's one of those just hardcore survival mode games where the stimulation of the VR is meant to mimic the real life. So if you get hurt in the game, it hurts you for real. You know, if you don't have good stamina in real life, you're gonna have shitty stamina in the game, and that's what people would want. I gave this show 3 tries before I tapped out. The story that took place in the game was interesting for a bit, but then it just got to be a little too much. The fan service was a complete joke, and the main character's real-life segments were just abysmal, and the difficulty of the video game portion, after a while, it just started to kind of run together and lose interest for me over time. So I would say steer clear. Next. Or last. It is last. Time for the last one. Pretty Boy Detectives Club. This series comes to us from Nisio Isin, the Monogatari guy. One of his books has been sitting neglected on the desk to my right for months now. From everything I can gather about the man, he is a weirdo, and I assumed going into this that it would be weird, and it certainly is. For not so great reasons. I really don't like the leggy Advent Rising head-ass designs of the main characters. If anything, I kind of got Ouran High School Host Club vibes from the series, which wouldn't be a problem outside of the fact that the boys are all in middle school, aged 12 to 14. It's weird. Like, it's really weird. They're all, like, really weirdly sexualized, and like, there's the one kid whose entire character is just bragging about how sexy he thinks his legs are. I don't like that. And they didn't even solve a mystery in the first episode. Like, the girl who's with them is like, I want to find a star. And so they go out to the beach, and they give her a shish kebab, and the leg boy, well, I guess they're all the leg boys, but the leggiest boy is doing spinneroonies on the beach. No, thanks. No. No. I would say next, but we're at the end. Oh, so ends another season of stupid anime. I do think I like this format of the more quick-hitter style of commentary over full thoughts, because thinking is for nerds or people who have Patreon requests. That's right, if you go to www.patreon.com/ChrisTheNerd92, you'll see there's all sorts of perks on my Patreon page, but $10 and up patrons get to choose topics within reason, of course. If you watched any of this and you're like, I want to force him to watch all of it and then talk to me about how he felt about that, that's how you make that happen. Like, if you want to force me to watch Koikimo until my eyes bleed, have at it. The description is going to have necessary links to everything, including my novels and my webcomic, Twitter for updates, Insta for art. Is there anything else? Just look up ChrisTheNerd92. I'm bound to show up somewhere. But for now, I will recede back into the weeby depths of, I don't know, hell or something. Until the next quarter, when it is time for me to show my face again, the ever-vigilant idol of the anime gods.